He called her name and she reached out to grab his hand while letting go of mine without the slightest bit of hesitation or thought. At this moment, a surge of theatrics seems almost necessary, a dramatic flourish to mirror the abrupt swing of my hand back to my side. But this isn't where the story starts. Let's rewind for a second. Emotions like that made you feel terrible. You were not ready, yet you could see the other person desperately trying their best for you. I had only begun to open up and crawl out of my shell. I had only begun allowing people to be there for me. I had only begun understanding that welcoming new people in your life did not mean replacing old friends. We were starting to become really good friends. I told her everything. We talked every time, anytime I needed someone to listen to me or a long hug without an explanation. Samantha had many suitors. It wasn't anything new. We talked about them and assessed them like they were characters in a play awaiting judgment. They were disqualified for different reasons, ranging from being too short, smiling too much, or sounding too confident. Perhaps it was his persistence or his sincerity, but he was different. I didn't think there was anything different about him, though. There were many of them in the past who had been more persistent than him. To me, he was really just like the rest, undeserving of someone as precious as her. She agreed with me, I knew, but she didn't join me in speaking negatively of him. She would listen and react with a certain body language of disapproval. She liked him, it seemed, and it annoyed me as the likeness grew. First, it was because I wanted her to end up with someone as outstanding as her, great character, great personality, brilliant and beautiful and rich. But later, it was because half our conversations became about him. Later, it was because of the long hours she spent with him on the phone. It was because she felt emotions that she wanted to share with me, but she didn't out of fear that it would irritate me or because I just wouldn't understand. And honestly, she would be right. It annoyed me to see her all excited whenever he was coming over. It pissed me off to see her rush to pick up her phone when he called. And oh, she always knew when it was him because she had a separate ringtone just for him. It was either surrendering to this new development or convincing myself that nothing would change that was the hardest part. The latter would be an attempt at denial and self deception to avoid the weight of the truth. I thought love and friendship were different. That's what Barbie said in one of those Barbie movies. Just because she was in love doesn't mean she loved me less, right? It was dark and there weren't many cars, so we walked around hand in hand, looking for a car that seemed suitable to enter. She seemed as happy as I was. We talked about something I can no longer remember. It was nice. Until he called her name and she reached out to grab his hand while letting go of mine without the slightest bit of hesitation or thought. At this moment, a surge of theatric seems almost necessary, a dramatic flourish to mirror the abrupt swing of my hand back to my side. It was a heartbeat perfectly aligned with the shattering of my own. In that very heartbeat, I grasped the undeniable truth. Love and friendship were not that different because they both share a vessel. I stood there as if trying to decipher some alien language the universe was speaking with me. Was I selfish and clingy? Maybe. But then she shouldn't have promised me that she would be there for me. She shouldn't have forced me to open up only to run into the arms of some stranger. Or maybe I shouldn't have handled my emotions the way I did. After all, love and friendship are different. This was a real story. Every story I tell here is. If you're living a story of your own, I turn real stories into episodes like this one. The link is below. And if you're not ready to leave yet, there's another story waiting.